Next Sunday, the 25th, sees the start of this year's Lombard RAC Rally, the last round of the World Rally Championship. This year the rally is based in Harrogate, and the 180 or so competitors have to negotiate nearly 1,500 miles in total, and they have to fight it out over some 350 miles of special stages. The big change this year is the rally will not go into the forests of Wales. All the special stages are in central and northern England and in Scotland. Here's the overall shape of the rally. Day one is the traditional Spectators' Day with 8 special stages in Yorkshire and the East Midlands with an overnight stop in Harrogate. Day 2 it gets tougher because it takes the cars into the North Yorkshire forests, again with an overnight in Harrogate. Day 3 takes the field up through Northumberland and Kielder and across the border into Scotland before they pull into Newcastle. The 4th and final day is a big one. It takes the cars back into Kielder and the Scottish forests and down through the tough Lake District stages before they pull into Harrogate for the finish. So how do the drivers stand in the championship? Well, Carlos Sainz, the Spanish driver, has already well and truly won the driver's crown. Indeed, he had it sent up over a month ago at San Remo. He's accumulated a massive 132 points. Behind him lie Didier Auriol on 87 points and Kankkunen with 85. The Spanish driver's brilliant season in the Toyota Celica GT4 injected a much-needed level of competition into the Manufacturers' Championship this year, but it still wasn't enough to topple the leaders Lancia, who won the title for a remarkable 4th year in succession. Mickey Biasione, the Italian driver in the Lancia and of course world champion in 1988 and 1989, had a rather quieter season than normal for him anyway, mainly because of recurring back trouble. The great news is he will be taking part in the Lombard RAC this year for the very first time as part of a strong Lancia team that includes Kankkunen, seeded number 3, and Didier Auriol, seeded number 11. So what about last year's winner Pentti Ricola? Well, he's moved from Mitsubishi to Ford and he's been busy gearing up to repeat his cliff-hanging performance. We tracked him down as he was preparing his pace notes for one of this year's stages. Yes, you heard correctly, pace notes on the Lombard RAC, because for the first time ever they've fallen into line with the rest of the world and they're allowing practice on all their stages. Tony Mason takes up the story.
Pace notes are the shorthand records which enable the crews to drive flat out through the special stages. To protect the forests during practice, the RAC insists that the drivers use ordinary road cars and limit their speed to 20 miles an hour. Taking 9 days to complete, it's a tedious and time-consuming process, the crews covering each stage twice. Professionals like Pentti and his Irish co-driver Ronan McNamee insist that the car is as close as possible to the rally car, so that every bend will look the same, hence this left-hand drive Ford Cosworth road car.
200.
The bends are graded by numbers. 1 means straight and 7 means a right angle.
Junction left.
Other people use different systems. In fact, some have the complete opposite to Pentti. But whatever the language, it gives the driver a mental picture of the road ahead when they come to drive it in anger on the rally itself.
Into junction. Right. 6. Stone inside.
Of course, not everybody has the time or money to take advantage of this change to the rules. So for those club drivers who make up the bulk of the entry, the organisers have provided notes made by a top professional navigator. Pace notes should increase speeds by up to 5%, so it's a safe bet that this year's rally will be the fastest ever.
50, junction left 7. Into crest 1, 400, left 2, brake, and left 6. Suddenly junction, right 6 minus. And 200, junction left 7.
That's the car, of course, the 4x4 Sierra Cosworth, on which Ford are building all their rallying hopes. They've been a long time in the wilderness since their all-conquering days of the 70s. The cars for the Lombard RAC are being prepared at their base at Boreham in Essex. No resources are being spared. Stuart Turner, their boss of motorsport, is determined that nothing shall be overlooked. And on a practice day there, Tony Mason asked him why they were going back into rallying in such a big way.
A couple of years ago, we did some market research into what branches of motorsport influence people, and the research showed that Formula One is the place to be for sheer publicity. But if you want to convince people you're helping to develop better production cars, road cars, rallying's the place to be.
Why is it the Sierra that is selected?
because we've got the Cosworth version with the four-wheel drive, and we're finding that although first sight it may seem to be a slightly bigger car compared to, for instance, the Escort, which was so successful, but it does appear to be a well-balanced car. It's user-friendly. The drivers like the balance of the car, and I think it's going to be quite competitive.
Well, let's talk about drivers. You seem to have changed your policy slightly and gone for the British drivers, which is very refreshing.
We've gone for Malcolm Wilson for two reasons. One, because he's up there amongst the top drivers in the world, and secondly, because we have to recognise that if we want to get publicity in the British market, which is important to us, we do need a British driver. So we're glad to have Malcolm for those two reasons. As far as Pentia Rickle is concerned, he came on board because he won the RAC rally last year and rang me the day after to say, to my surprise, that he hadn't got a drive fix for this year, so we were very quick to sign him up for the three events we've got in 1990.
Now, how do you like this year?
I think it's a terrific car. I mean, we've done a lot of work. We've been a lot of places testing this year, and I'm really happy with the progress. And I think, you know, we've come on in leaps and bounds in terms of getting the car more competitive.
And the four-wheel drive, obviously, a big difference.
It's a tremendous difference. I mean, the first time I got in the car, I couldn't believe it. You know, you thought, well, there's people that talk about turbo lag and that, but, you know, just to get into a car with four-wheel drive and the traction and the braking is just, it's incredible. It's a great feeling again to be back. Know that you're going to be in a competitive car.
Now, there's something new in the car, the 7-speed gearbox. Tell us about that.
Well, we're all very excited here about it. I mean, I don't know how much advantage it's going to give us in terms of outright speed, but the fact that we've got a clutchless gear change again is a big advantage over the having to use a clutch, which is an advantage then that you can use the left foot braking technique a lot more.
Another top British driver is that fiercely competitive Welshman David Llewellyn, driving a Toyota Celica. And calling the corners for him this year, as always, is his long-standing co-driver Phil Short, who is no doubt hoping for a very good result this year, his last Lombard RAC before he retires from top-class competition. Louise Aitken-Walker has just won the newly created Ladies World Championship, despite a terrible crash in the Rally of Portugal. Now, that horrendous crash didn't seem to affect her driving, and she managed to stay ahead of her arch-rival Paolo Di Martini from Italy. Louise always makes a big impact in the Lombard RAC, and this year, competing with her co-driver Christina Thorner, she's driving an Astra. So, in a big field that's very, very competitive, who else should we be looking out for?
Harry Vatanen will again be driving a Mitsubishi Galant, hopefully not quite like this. After a year combining rallying with desert racing, Vatanen, seeded number 4, is very much a force to be reckoned with. Marco Allen, with 19 wins, has won more World Championship rallies than anyone else. After 16 years with Lancia, he's now been lured away by the Banbury-based Subaru team. And his last drive for Mazda before moving to Mitsubishi, Timo Salonen, seeded number 6 this year. Driving a Subaru like this on his very first rally for Formula 1 Grand Prix star Derek Warwick. What do you think of the handling of the 4x4 Subaru?
It's nice. I mean, we've done a few days now, and I quite like it. You know, it's obviously completely different to anything I'm used to, so it is kind of difficult. But the car is good, and my biggest problem is when I get into a little bit of trouble, is instead of easing off, is to change down and accelerate through. That's difficult. The brain doesn't really want to do that anymore.
What brain?
What brain?
Number 10 is Hannu Mikkola, acknowledged as the world's most successful rally driver. At 48, he's the grand old man of the sport, and with more power in his Mazda this year, he could win his 5th Lombard RAC. But the man that everyone will be looking out for is the new world champion, Carlos Sainz. Highly gifted all-round sportsman, Carlos fenced and skied for his country and became Spanish squash champion at the age of 17. He turned to motorsport a year later, and after learning his trade in Renault 5 turbos, graduated to top-class competition, twice winning the Spanish championship. You've spent a lot of time away from home this year.
This year I think we have been about 320 days outside of Spain. That is quite a lot of, if you can imagine.
But it was all worth it when you got to San Remo in October.
Yeah, San Remo was the greatest moment when we get the championship.
But you nearly went out of the rally.
Yeah, we have a little roll, and we could continue, lost in about 2 minutes 20 seconds, But we could manage and finish the rally. In third position, that was the position that we needed to take mathematically the championship.
What did it feel like when you knew you'd won it, the championship?
It's a very good feeling, as you can imagine.
It was Ford who gave Carlos his first chance in international rallying, but impatient to drive a four-wheel drive car, he moved to Toyota in 1989. But things didn't go quite as planned.
First year with Toyota was difficult. We have some reliability problems. But the end of the year was quite okay. Everybody knows about 90.
Well, this year, yes, just went so well. And what about that win in Finland, the first non-Scandinavian ever to win the 1,000 Lakes Rally?
This rally was for me, was the most important victory. Finnish drivers are very special as well, and I think to get the first position in this rally for me it was a very happy day.
And of course, last year, back to last year's Lombard RAC rally, we all remember that drive very well.
Thank you. It was very enjoyable for me, and I think it was a nice rally, nice fight, and by bad luck at the end we have a problem with the prop set and we lost about 2 minutes and a half.
You were bitterly disappointed.
I was really disappointed. I was incredibly disappointed after this problem. I was feeling very, very bad because it was 2 stages to the end. I tell you, we were risking a lot to get the victory, and when this problem came, I couldn't believe it.
Now this year is the first year with pace notes. How do you feel about that?
My feeling was that it was a pity. I will prefer to have this kind of blind rally that gives to RAC rally special meaning. But anyhow, I still thinking that this rally, even with these 2 times going through the stages, I think will be, with 1,000 Lakes, one of the, for me, are the 2 best in the World Championship.
Well, this is one car that probably won't be in this year's Lombard RAC Rally, and this one certainly won't, the 6R4. They're both from the Heritage Collection here. But our crews will be out on the road, getting all the best of the rally action. Of course, we can't guarantee to be on the right bend at the right time for the most dramatic incidents. So if you should happen to video something crucial, please call us on this special Harrogate number, 0423 527 237. That's 0423 527 237. With any luck, your shot could be in our programme next week, giving our report on the whole rally. But I have to leave you tonight with some sad news, because we've just learned that our friend and colleague Tom Boswell died earlier this week. We'd like to extend our sympathies to all his family. So until next week then, with our special report on the rally,